Hi, it's Richard Goodsell, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Unibox 10. Okay, let's take a closer look at the Unibox. The Unibox gets its name from the similarly named Univox of the 60s and 70s. And we pretty much carry over about 80% of the design. It has the same preamp, and it uses the very unusual 6 BM8 tubes, which are still readily available from New Sensor Corporation. The preamp has two 12AX7s. We have two 6 BM8s in push-pull configuration, and we have a 6X5 GT tube rectifier. In the preamp section, we have two 12AX7s that are responsible for the preamp, the tremolo driver, and the reverb send and return. The tremolo is bias vary, which is the cool way to do it, and it's not in the signal path at all, and neither is the reverb. When they're turned down all the way, they're invisible to the original signal path. And lastly, a key ingredient is the super lightweight ceramic speaker, which is similar to the old Jensen's that the original one used. Now my friend Jody Worrell's going to show us what this little baby can do.
Boy, that really cleaned up when I turned down the guitar, and it stayed kind of fat sounding. It didn't just kind of lose all of its stuff when I turned down the guitar.
Yeah, you're right, it did. And in the beginning, it just made me want to reach for a moist towelette. I mean, that was just some really greasy stuff, which is what this amp is good at.
Now, this has tremolo, does it not?
Yes, it has bias vary tremolo. We have a speed and depth control here, and an Accutronic spring reverb, which gets, on this particular amp, gets really, really wet.
Let's hear what the tremolo sounds like. We'll try it with kind of a clean sound.
Okay.
That's nice. Very, very Joe South. Tremolo is kind of a weird thing with a lot of distortion, but it's kind of a cool sound. I use my favorite spy chord even.
Yeah, and this reverb will take it right to the swamp, too, if you want to crank that up all the way for that CCR thing.
Now we're talking. Wow.
Jody, that's awesome.
That's an incredible sound, and that was with that reverb was not all the way up by any means.
No, there was still a little bit more more swamp in there.
And that wasn't even as fast and deep is the tremolo. Let's hear how just crazy off the chart it is. Boy, that is one great sounding amp.
Thanks, man. That's awesome. Do you want to see what this thing will do with a Stratocaster?
I think that's a great idea. That's pretty big sounding, but very transparent. I don't feel like the amp is playing me. It feels like what I'm playing is getting all the way through to the other side.
Yeah, Jody, I know what you mean, and it's quite a bit different than the Les Paul was. And it's got has kind of a British feel to it at some point.
Yeah, it really does. Let's hear a little bit of that tremolo over here with the Strat. It's probably going to be a little clearer sounding, just by the nature of the pickups. Oh yeah, that's huge. Very psychedelic. Very psychedelic.
I love the Ottawa. That's
cool.
great. Yeah.
Yeah, it's from Canada. Get it? Ottawa. Work with me. What else? That was a nice dose of reverb there. We've got the tone about, I don't know, 2 o'clock. What happens if we just jack that tone all the way up to the top there, Richard?
Well. You're getting every bit of the 10 watts out of that thing, aren't you?
Man, that felt like 9.8 at least. I'm loving it, man. That's a great sounding amp.